Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Enter the Gungeon. I'm Nye. Hopefully I'm not going to suck today. Let's go as the Marine. Let's get our final dragon kill. Let's get our 100%. So this should get us the final gun unlock. Now there are still a variety of guns I have not actually picked up yet, just due to luck, basically. I think we concluded the other day, there's like 3 guns I still have to... Okay. There's still like 3 guns I have to actually pick up. And it's just been luck that we have not seen them yet. So that needs to happen. But there's not really control I have over that, so I'm not going to sit here and go, okay, well, if I don't get that, I don't have 100%. So, we'll just kind of... We're not going to really worry about that. I might do a run or two. In fact, I think I'm going to do a run or two. You know, post-game. You know, once we have all of the items unlocked, because I want to see, you know, for example, what the Grey Mauser is like as an item. Just so I have an idea of what all of these items do. Because, you know, in 3 days local time, so 3 days in my perceived timeline, it's so weird. We're going to talk about this in a second, but 3 days in my perceived timeline, we are going to, you know, I'm going to have the new expansion. So it's going to be kind of fun. But I kind of want to know what all of the current items do before I jump in to an entire list of new items. I'm going to need to be able to handle that. I'm going to need to be able to figure out... I'm going to get hit for that. Okay, that's fine. No, don't you dare. Okay. But yeah, I need to figure out, you know, what all of these items do. So that way, when I get into the new expansion, you know, when I have all of these brand new items that I don't understand at all, I can at least go, okay, well, you know what? I understand what these items do, and I'll be able to use them. It's going to be a thing. So yeah, perceive time. So, you know, I think all of us, to a greater or lesser extent, you know, we have those moments where we're sitting there going, like, you know, man, I felt that lasted, you know, so short. Your friend's like, what are you talking about? That was like forever. You know, everybody values things in different ways, and if you find it to be fun, you know, it goes faster for you, right? That's kind of something that we all kind of experience as a group. You know, as humanity, things that tend to be fun, that tends to feel like it doesn't last as long. Things that suck seem to like feel like they last forever. And you know, kind of a side note for that, you know, I don't get to donate blood much because I have like low iron in my bloodstream typically, apparently. So it's this thing where it's like, okay, if I want to donate blood, which, you know, I'll be honest, I do. I think it's a good thing to do. That probably comes from having, you know, number one, been in the hospital a couple of times where that was, you know, kind of an important thing. But also, you know, I have a family who is very medically oriented. You know, my dad was a pediatrician. My mom's a nurse. My sister's a therapist. Like there's a lot. My uncle was a psychiatrist. My other uncle's an anesthesiologist. There's a lot of, oh god damn it, there is a lot of medicine in my family, which is why, you know, I do online tech support. I'm the failure of the family. What do we got? Rocket powered bullets. Excellent. Just give me that flat damage up. Let's have some fun. But yeah, so, you know, I think it's a great thing to do, and, you know, it really helps out a lot of patients, things like that. It helps hospitals save lives. Great. I'm all for it. My biggest problem is, number one, you know, there's the issue with, like, iron in the bloodstream. So apparently, and I can't just take iron supplements. It has to kind of get in there organically, apparently, is my understanding. Like, I can't just supplement up because it's not going to get enough in there. So they're like, just go, you know, go eat a big steak or something. It's like, well, you know, I'd love to do that, but that's like money I just don't have. Let's talk about that. Anyways, so I go in, and apparently I do not have a very good response to blood loss. Because, you know, I went in with a book, right? Like, I hear a lot of people saying, you know, you go in with a book or something like that, you know, you don't pay attention to what you're doing, and you know, it's a good thing. Like, you're gonna be fine. Well, I start getting blood loss, all of a sudden I start tingling, and my body starts having, these sensations of, oh god, I start having a panic attack. It's a terrible thing. And, you're sitting there, there's no clock in there, so you're sitting there like, oh god, when is this experience, which is probably the worst thing I've ever done, when is this experience going to end? How much do they need? Oh my god, that bag's getting huge. Do I have that much of my body? Oh my god. And, naturally this is a, response that is not, it's not a big deal, right? Like, I think the idea is a lot of people have this particular physiological response to donating blood. So it's not, I don't think it's unique to me. I'm pretty sure it's not unique to me. Oh, I just took that really silly damage. That shot came from a mile away, and I just did not recognize that it was coming. Okay, we're gonna take lots of damage. Don't mind me. But yeah, lots of people, it's supposed to be, something that your body just does. The nurses were kind of kind when they saw me freaking out. They're like, okay, some people have this response. You donate blood a little bit more often, it's not going to be such an issue. You're going to be able to deal with it. It's like, well, that's great, but I have to deal with it now. Like, I really don't have the, the inclination, the wherewithal, or let's be fair, the moral fiber to deal with this enough to be okay with it. But, it feels like it lasts forever, and that's the deal. That's the big thing, right? It feels like it lasts forever. Because it's an unpleasant sensation. For me, like, camping is another thing like that. It feels like it lasts absolutely forever. But I go back and I think of, like, vacations with my family, even when I did, basically nothing and hung around and just kind of relaxed. Those felt like they didn't last long enough. I wanted more time on that, Like, kind of huge. Oh, you are the biggest pain in the ass. Kind of huge things there, right? Got the camera. Kind of excited about the camera. But yeah, kind of an awesome thing. Also, where the hell did all of this money come from? Like 78 shells. They must have given me one of the big boy drops. I'm going to go ahead and buy the Void shotgun then. Sorry, pulse cannon. Different gun. Not the one I thought it was. Did I not pop in here and open this? So yeah, time perception is a different thing. And it gets even weirder when I'm trying to talk to you guys about... Oh. It gets even weirder when I'm trying to talk to you guys about an event that's going to happen in my future, your past. Because I'm sitting here saying that this thing, this event, this time that we are talking about right now is going to happen in 3 days' time. However, for you guys, it's going to be closer to, like, a month in the past. So it's this really weird statement to be, I'm talking, to the future. Like, I am actually speaking to a future. And that's, that's what I usually do, right? Because I pre-record. All of this stuff goes up on the internet, a long time after I actually say these words. You guys get to be, like, the archaeologists of the internet. You are digging up the past by watching this video. And that's one thing that I've been cognizant of that fact since I started recording videos. And one thing that I didn't want to do is, and this sounds really, really weird because I'm not like a big YouTuber, so why does this matter? But one thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to, like, date my videos very much. I didn't really want the idea of, okay, you can see that this video is, 2 or 3 years old. Cool. You can see that, and that's fine. But the idea that you could tell how old my video is purely by what I talk about, I feel like that might maybe lessen the fun of the video a little bit. Like, there's a couple YouTubers I like to listen to, and, some of them talk about real-life experiences. And those real-life experiences, they can happen at any time. You can listen to some of this stuff. You can listen to, an Army vet talk. And, if you're in the Army, you can have that feeling of, well, yeah, we don't use those guns anymore, and we haven't used that deployment tactic in, like, 80 years. But on the flip side of it, that is actually something that we end up seeing a lot. So, you have an easier way to connect with people when things are not dated. So I think we have the, we have a moment where I don't want to date myself. It's easier to connect. I listen to a couple YouTubers that, they talk about their lives, talk about, crap that happens to them, at the grocery store, for example, or they talk about crap that happens to them at the bus stop. And I'm not really a big bus stop guy, but I can go, okay, I can dig that. I can get involved with you. I'm a huge homebody, so I don't end up having those stories a lot, so I have to be a little more philosophical about the crap that I talk about. But, it's a lot more interesting to me to talk about stuff that is not dated, that you can't sit here and go, okay, this, Harambe is no longer a meme. That was 2017, or 2016. So we know this must be an older video. I wasn't on the internet in 2016. I only heard about this in the meme wars or whatever. I don't really understand what this is, so I can't really get with him. I don't really as much like that as a concept. So I'm trying to talk about stuff in that manner. But at the same time, I'm sitting here like, man, this thing is going to happen, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. But even if you guys watch this video, the day this video goes up, it's still going to be in your past. And if you guys don't watch the day this goes up, if you guys are seeing this video, later than that, this might be old news. You might live in a situation where, there was never not a Gungeons and Dragons update for Enter the Gungeon. I'm going to be sitting here going, man, I don't know what this item does. What the hell? And you're going like, dude, what the hell? I got that out of my first run. How do you not understand what that does? I had Trance. So Trance was on the line with me yesterday, and we were talking about stuff, and he started up his first Gungeon run. And in Trance's first Gungeon run, he went down to the oubliette. When I did my first Gungeon run, I didn't even know the oubliette existed. Like, it wasn't even a thing because people weren't even playing that yet. Like, that wasn't that hadn't been. Well, I think it might have been discovered, but that wasn't a thing I knew about yet. It wasn't necessarily common knowledge when I started my runs. So it's that little bit of a dissonance. So I'm sitting here, so I'll sit here and I'll tell a story in a trance about, hey, figuring out how to do the oubliette or going into the oubliette for the first time and, seeing these enemies and God, this is weird. And he's gonna be like, I can't get on the same page with you about that because I never had that. And the time effect of having a YouTube video up that I'm just gonna wait for this guy. So that the time effect of having this YouTube video up ahead of time where I know this happens. I know what's going on. Also, I'm going to be very upset if we cannot get a single key so I can go and get the freaking Mimic Tooth necklace. But yeah, having that, like, it is such a weird thing. And it makes experiences so odd. I love the concept of having a timeless quality to what you do. And, we're talking, I'm talking YouTube videos, not Walt Disney animation, stuff like that. That's what we're talking about. So, it's kind of a moot point a little bit. This is not going to stand the test of time. We're not going to get to 200 years from now and someone goes, "Oh, hey, do you remember being in history class? You remember seeing that Nye video from 2018?" That's not going to happen. We're not going to have that. But I think there's this quality that things have where they can't necessarily be dated. I have a couple books books I read and stuff like that, and a couple of them make references to popular culture, different video games or something in the media. It's something. They're referencing something. And okay, so we got that. Let's go get our Mimic Tooth necklace. I'll have to fight for both my chests now, but I'll be able to get both my chests, which is awesome. I'll be able to get every chest from now on. So, it is a interesting thing to read these because they might be talking about, you know, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, you know, 2, as if this is a thing that the character had literally just played. And it's like, oh, okay, you might have just played that. It is possible that you just played that. But this is not a game that is new. This is not the newest Call of Duty. You know, you're a couple years behind. So it dates the material, right? All of a sudden, you're not in the same frame of reference as the characters anymore. You know, it's the same thing as listening to, you know, kind of reading an older, you know, like an older, you know, Oregon Trail era, you know, story, and talking to this character, talking about, man, you know, I really hope I don't catch dysentery. You know, but holy crap. Okay, this thing's gonna be the biggest pain in the ass to fight. Okay, let's just shut it down right now. And we got the shotgun full of love, which is actually one of the guns that I have not actually been able to get yet. So this is exciting. We have, okay, let's go ahead and grab this. I'm going to do shotgun full of love, but we're also just going to kind of cold 45 this guy. Let's keep him locked down. You're not going to get a chance to even move. Get a rattler. And I'm, okay, we're this is exciting. We are, as long as I can keep the cold 45 full of ammunition, I think we are going to have a really good run. So here's the question. Okay, I can't get the chest teleporter. Never mind. That's not even a question. I was in here thinking, you know, do I want to, you know, pick up the chest teleporter and just ignore the old crest? But I don't think that's gonna be a thing. I think we're just gonna go and pick that up. Okay, so shotgun full of love, I've been told, is completely and totally broken. So I think it's what we're going to use in order to make this happen. We do have Unity, so we want as many guns as we can possibly get. And then what we want is really powerful guns. So I want something like the AU gun. You know, I want the composite gun. I want the makeshift cannon. I want those guns, and then what I want is a single gun in the forefront, which is extremely rapid fire. I'm just gonna hit that. Like I'm just gonna do that. I'm not dealing with that room. Okay, there we go. Just gonna knock him out here. Okay. Just gonna be very careful about how we, okay. Oh my god, damn it, I was in a dodge roll. I was gonna be very careful. Damn it. Like, that's just depressing. But yeah, it's a weird thing, and being able to have a more timeless nature, I think, is, you know, it's a goal that we should generally have. You know, I think in a lot of our entertainments, it's so easy, and you know, a lot of us do this. A lot of media does this, but okay, you're just gonna sit there. Okay. You know, a lot of media uses popular culture as an easy way to identify with, you know, with the word constituents is wrong, but to identify with this audience. You know, the idea that, you know, okay, I've watched this, you've watched this. You know, it's the meme thing. Like, if you understand this, I understand this, we're going to have a lot easier way to communicate. I don't have to make as much of an effort in order to communicate with you. And this is, you know, this is the thing that, you know, we talk about, you know, when we talk about, you know, referential comedy, which I do a lot, you know, making references and quoting games and all that stuff. You can do that. And we don't actually need keys anymore. Keys, well, actually, I take that back. We do need keys, just in case. So I take that back. In case we see Flintlock again. but also in the case that we see like a spare room, something like that. So I think we're gonna maybe have 3 or 4 keys on us at all times. That's gonna be about it. But you know, you do references, and the problem is, you know, that works up to a point. But if your audience does not understand your reference, all of a sudden, you know, it's not even a thing to even do anymore. So I mean, and you know, one of the things that I'm about to go do this. I'm about to make a reference, and some people are not going to get it, and it's going to prove my point, and it's also going to be depressing. But you know, there's an episode of Futurama. It's one of the earliest episodes where they go. Okay, I was gonna say you better have given me a weapon. Early episode of Futurama, they go to the moon. I think it's like the 2nd episode, right? And they're looking at the history of the moon, and they're trying to figure out, you know, how they got to the moon. And they originally, I don't even know the name of the show anymore off the top of my head, but they quote the phrase "to the moon, Alice" as a as the reason that people went to the moon. You know, that this guy had the dream to go to the moon, and that's what got them there. You know, and you know, that's cute and all, but that's got nothing to do with it. But that's the whole referential thing. Like, it's got nothing to do with you know, wanting to go to the moon at all. It's just people don't understand the reference anymore. And I think that has a tremendous, not as much impact, that's not really the word I'm looking for, but that's absolutely a thing. That, you know, people don't get references, and all of a sudden, you're not understood. There's also another example, and once again, this is going to be kind of a dated example, because it's a very old, at this point, Star Trek episode. But I wish I had the names of these things off the top of my head while I'm trying to talk to you guys about them. But there's a Star Trek episode where I believe it's Picard is yeah, let's see if this works. Hold on. Can I charm you? I can't charm you. Okay. So there's an episode where Picard gets trapped on this planet with this other guy from another species. They don't communicate. And the idea is this other species only speaks in metaphors. And there's this gigantic issue between the two species talking. Because the other species only speaks in metaphors. It's metaphors based on their own personal, you know, history and knowledge base. And because Picard does not understand that, because he does not speak those words, and it's not part of his history, he can't get on the same page as the alien that he's talking to. And it's a tremendous problem for them, because this does not allow them to communicate. It's a kind of a pseudo-emergency situation, if I remember correctly. And the reason I ever watched this in the first place, I was never a Star Trek kid, but the reason I watched it in the first place is I was in the middle of a creative writing class in a summer camp, and the teacher was trying to show us, you know, the value of communication, things like that, and how to, you know, okay, I disagree with being hit there, but we'll go with it. But it was, you know, it was partially the okay, can we not be in the middle of the fire when I teleport? Thank you. You know, value of communication, how using certain words works over other words, you know, word choice, but also, you know, it was a little bit of the shared experiences vibe. But it's got a little bit of that in it. And, you know, even years later, so I originally watched that in, like, you know, I think I was in 5th or 6th grade when I actually watched that episode as part of this summer camp. You know, that episode still resonates with me. I can barely remember it anymore. but the kind of base idea, I guess, still resonates with me. You know, as a person, as a writer, as a speaker, because it is part of that big thing. You know, it's part of that thing that we need to understand. There was a, can you, like, nod? Thank you. Now, I remember being in a creative, not creative writing class, a public speaking class a couple of years ago. Actually, a number of years ago. Is that Mimic Friendship? Yes! Okay, that's the other item that we want. So now every single chest that we see for the remainder of the game will be absolutely free. I'll just be able to open them because every chest will be a Mimic, but every Mimic will not want to fight me, therefore, free. Just go ahead and pick that up because I would like to force the shopkeep into having something else in his shop. I'm gonna pick up the backpack, and I'm gonna pick up the lodestone amulet. I'm probably gonna be upset with myself for buying both of those, especially if we get something like a black market or something in the very near future. But I think those are going to be very, very important to have. What do we have inside of here? It's a gun muncher. Not too worried about the gun muncher right now. But I remember I was being told, you know, the public speaking course was just a required course that everybody had to take, or at least everybody in my then degree had to take. So it wasn't something I was particularly worried about. Speaking in public wasn't a thing I really worried about in the first place. I had, you know, done the eulogy for, I had done the eulogy for my dad for like 2,000 people when I was a much younger kid, so I wasn't too worried about it. So I went in, and unfortunately, I was a late registrant for a variety of reasons. So I got in a couple days later, and so the teacher, and I think I've told this story before, but the teacher was sitting here, you know, talking about, okay, so, you know, we have a assignment that everybody is turning in today. You know, you don't have to worry about it because you know what the assignment was. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, that's interesting. What's the assignment? And she says, well, you know, everybody was supposed to come to school today, come to class today, and they're going to tell a story. I said, okay. And she said, it has to be kind of a folklore story. It's not going to be something you're going to make up. You know, something you've heard before, and you just tell the story in front of the class. And I said, okay, I can do that. Would you like me to just do that now? And so I kind of stood up and kind of just told a story that I had read somewhat recently, the story of why the coyote howls at the moon. And it was, I had read this as part of like a coffee table book. I don't even remember where I read it from. But, you know, the idea is that the coyote was in the middle of the desert, and it was, you know, it had fallen in love with the moon, was the original idea. And the coyote had, you know, looked up at the moon and thought it was absolutely beautiful. And, wow, we keep on getting Space Friend, which I'm not upset about that. It's just kind of interesting that we keep getting Space Friend. You know, but the coyote looked at the moon and kind of instantly fell in love with it and decided that it wanted to get as close to the moon as it possibly could. And so it searched around and it searched for items that it could use to get to the moon. And, you know, it found rocks and it found trees and stuff like that, so it started piling all of those together in order to get to the moon. And that worked up to a certain extent, but it kind of ran out of items. So then it started, that was really stupid of me. Stand still, just get shot by the dreadnought. Yeah. So it got close, but it couldn't get close enough. Okay, that was right. I need to remember. Teleportation, dodging. So the coyote starts grabbing furniture and starts stacking the furniture, and it continues to get close to the moon. And it's doing very well, and it gets very close. It's very close indeed. And as it continues to get closer and closer, it builds more and more until finally the coyote feels that its ladder to the moon is right there. Like, it is so close. It's going to be able to reach out and just touch the moon if only it gets on the ladder. So the coyote goes, it gets on the ladder, It reaches out to the moon, but a gust of wind comes and blows down the pile of items, tumbling everything down, including the coyote. And when he falls down, everything's broken, and there's no way to pile it up again. But I guess my interpretation was that the coyote was, I guess, too old to retry this, I guess. I never really understood why it couldn't do it again, but, we'll go with that. And so the coyote, filled with upset, filled with upset, now howls the moon every night for the love that it lost that it can't get back. Something to that effect. I can't remember the exact story anymore because this was a couple of years ago. I just remember the gist. But this was a thing. This was a story that I had fun telling, and people had fun listening to. But once again, this goes back to shared experiences. If you don't know that the coyote howls the moon, what's the point of the story? Why does this matter? It's just kind of one of those, one of those stories like, okay, so the coyote howls the moon. What are you telling me? What is the, what's the point? Okay, so the coyote howls the moon. Why do we need a story behind this? So I guess the idea was interesting. And also, this is a little bit different from, depending on where you live. Because where I was at the time, I was living in Colorado, where we have coyotes. Coyotes are a thing. If I told that story down here in New Orleans, I don't think it would have nearly as much of an impact upon those who are here, because, okay, we don't have coyotes here. There might be people down here who don't know what a coyote is. Like, and that sounds silly. Like, you sit here and you go, how do you not know what a coyote is? How do you not know, this animal? But I know people who, if I say the word puma, they don't know what I'm talking about. They don't understand what a puma is. If you say mountain lion, they'll go, okay. And then if you say cougar, they'll go, wait, isn't that a completely different animal? And, there are people who have that. When I got down here, I learned about a creature called the loup-garou, which, it's kind of my understanding is a werewolf-style thing, but wasn't something I knew about. Like, this was a completely new thing to me, and I had to actually learn what a loup-garou is. So you tell me the story of the loup-garou, and you tell me that, this is something I need to watch out for. This is the story how the loup-garou came together. Sure, I'm going to be kind of interested in this bayou werewolf that you have to tell me about, but it's not going to make the same impact as if you told me about, as if you told me about something entirely different. As if you told me about, a straight-up werewolf, something like that. I thought I saw lights down there for a secret room. Thank you. And even, I say all this, but then you hear the language that I'm using. So when I describe a loup-garou to you guys, I describe it as a werewolf. I don't go out of my way and try to describe to you exactly what it is. Now, part of that is because I don't know the full details. But I don't describe it to you guys as a loup-garou. I describe it to you guys as a werewolf. I come upon that common knowledge. And this is, kind of part of the point I'm making. I know I can get in here. Thank you. Part of the whole point is that it is that kind of shared experience that works with us. And then you have the kind of the flip side when you don't have that shared experience. We are not at all on the same page. There's a writer that I love for a variety of reasons, named Robert Asprin, who wrote a variety of books, which I really enjoy. I highly recommend looking at like the myth conceptions. I don't know the exact name. I know that's one of the titles. The word myth, M-Y-T-H, and then conceptions. And it was a series of hilarious books. But the one that I remember, because it's the first one that I found of him, was a story by the name of Dragons Wild, which was kind of an interesting book series that unfortunately, due to his death, didn't really ever get a satisfying conclusion. But the idea was that we have dragons among us, and that sometime in Earth's past, the dragons, because they are very powerful but were also hunted, decided to take the forms of humans in order to, number one, be less hunted, number two, to kind of stop some of the power struggles between dragons. And so we end up having a pair of siblings who are the children of dragons in human form, but do not know that they are dragons until suddenly one day, one of the siblings, okay, I thought I'd check. One of the siblings starts to develop his dragon powers, and because he is one of the most pure blood dragons, naturally, because it's a story like it is, because he's one of the most pure-blooded dragons, he is going to be one of the most powerful ones, and so he has to kind of deal with that. And so he's trying to figure out what to do. Interesting. He's trying to figure out what to do and how to kind of live his life, and he has to leave his former home due to basically being attacked. Is the long story short. And he moves down to New Orleans, specifically to the French Quarter, which is where he decides to kind of rebuild his life. Now, you know, this is kind of a more basic story, but what interests me about the story is that we end up having a story where, if you know New Orleans culture, the story makes much more of an impact than if you don't. And that's where, and I had just moved to New Orleans, so I knew a little bit more about things like, you know, the moonwalk and things like French Quarter culture, things like that. I don't really know it as well as I wish I do, and I don't know it as well as the book wants me to know it in order to really understand where the main character's coming from, the people that he talks to. But I do know, I have been down there, and I have talked to, a lot of the street artists. I've also been scammed in New Orleans, or at least my best friend was. And that's a thing that actually happens in the French Quarter, because there are scammers who look for tourists and try to get on you. And this is just a thing that happens. I know how insular a community that the French Quarter is, and it's actually kind of hysterical, because working down in the quarter as I did, or at least just off the quarter, you work down there, and it's a hysterical thing, because I had customers who were like, yeah, because my store was closing, they're like, I don't know what to do. I said, what do you mean? And they go, well, I don't want to go beyond this street. Like, there was a specific street they did not want to travel beyond because they lived in the quarter. And this was such a weird thing to me. This did not register in my head as a thing that made sense. Like, I do not want to travel beyond this street. And this, I'm not talking about, travel beyond a distant street. We're talking, they did not want to go more than 4 blocks outside of the quarter. And this would be a huge deal. This would be a thing that, would be very, very weird if I didn't know that happens in the quarter a lot. People just do not want to go beyond a certain. They don't want to leave the quarter. They don't want to go out. They don't want to go out. And the fact that our store was closing, and they had to go. If they wanted to continue shopping for games with us, they would have to go. They would have to go 1.5 miles down the road. These people don't have cars. They barely have bikes. This is not a thing that happens in the life of the quarter. I understood this a lot more after, later on down the line, but these were things the book was trying to tell me and trying to make, I guess, kind of understandable to me as a reader, and I just, it didn't necessarily, as I said, didn't necessarily register. Unfortunately, the camera is not quite as good today as it was last time. We don't have quite the damage ups that we had last time we used the camera. Hopefully we'll be able to fix that. So yeah, very, trying to focus on our shared experiences, and it didn't quite work until it did. Once I actually visited New Orleans, and especially visited the quarter, all of a sudden I understood, right? I understood what it was trying to tell me. I understood where it was trying to go. I was going to say, if that hits me, I was going to be very salty. And we even had, you know, I even have this happen, to, you know, a lot in gaming. You know, even in gaming, we have a lot of terms that are very weird and exclusive to us. And, you know, I say this, and, you know, I'm talking about terms like tilted and salty. You know, how do you tell a non-gamer what salty is or what tilted is? You know, yeah, sure, if you're a pinball player, you might understand the concept of tilted. That would make sense, because that's, as far as I understand, that is where the term literally comes from. Is from pinball players. You know, hitting the tilt function on the game. Okay, you're apparently behind me. You know, and then you know, salty. You know, it's salty tears. Like, it's, you know, your salty tears are delicious. But these are, you know, these are things that it's like the non-gamers don't necessarily understand. I recently had to deal with the term inting, and I did not understand what the term inting meant. And it took me a minute until and you know, I asked, and you know, they laughed at me for a second. But the term inting refers to intentionally feeding. You know, just walking into an enemy and just giving them a kill. But also on the flip side of this, it was a term used for when a player just starts intentionally playing badly, not necessarily dying, but not assisting the team, things like that. Without the shared experience, you don't want to attack that guy? Okay. Okay, so you're still going to be my friend, but you're not going to attack my enemies. Okay, cool. But without that shared experience, okay, it becomes, you know, a little bit different when we communicate with each other. So, you know, it all kind of rotating back to the original point of this entire tirade over the past 42 minutes. You know, is the idea that you guys and I, we are operating under an entirely different time frame of time reference. You know, you guys, I know that some of you guys, or at least a couple of you guys, watch this or watch my videos all in a row. You guys kind of watch this all in a go, which is, you know, kind of very different for me, because I don't record them like that. Gungeon, for example, these episodes, when it comes to Gungeon, these episodes occur over a span of, I think, 2 years now. I'm a very different person now than I was when I first started recording these episodes. Okay, we got a lot of money. What we did not get... did we get a chest? It says I have a chest. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Yeah, these episodes, you know, occur over a span of 2 years. I'm a very different person now than I was 2 years ago. You know, gaming has actually changed in a big way over the course of the past 2 years with the advent of stuff like, you know, PUBG and stuff like that, that have kind of changed the way people play games. Okay, better late than never. I'll think about it. Actually, wait. Yeah, hold on, I'll think about it. I want to see what the blacksmith has first. I kind of want the potion of gun friendship, but I want to see what the blacksmith has, because with the ring I can steal stuff, and I'd rather steal from the blacksmith with the epic mega weapons that the blacksmith tends to have. Yeah, gaming has changed. So there's very different things, I think, in a very different way now than I did, you know, back then. But also, you know, I'm older than I was. So my reflexes have gone down. I actually know this for a fact. I'm not as good at games as I once was. So a long-standing series like this one lets you kind of see a change in me. You're going to hear a change in microphone. Over the course of the series, you might hear a change in my voice, because my understanding is talking as much as I do for these series will actually make your voice a little bit deeper. But also, you know, think about the changes between now and the time when I started this channel. Those are some big-ass changes. Now we're talking, you know, we've had years differences. I think I've changed houses twice. You know, things have changed in my life, and probably in yours too. You know, kind of a big thing. So to sit here, okay, we did get broccoli. I kind of want the Vorpal gun. Have we gotten everything else on this floor? Okay, let's go check over here real quick. I want to steal the broccoli. Nothing, because I don't know where the secret room is. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to buy the Vorpal gun, steal the broccoli. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it all the way in here in order to steal the Potion of Gun Friendship, which sucks, but I'll just go ahead and buy that, and then we will come back and we will steal the compressed air tank, and probably buy the sponge, too, just for the sake of having it. So yeah, that should be pretty awesome. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the Stinger, because this is the weapon that I want to use for this fight. So yeah, it's just a very, you know, it's a very different thing for us to be talking about the, you know, that was a very weird series of movements. I gotta be honest, that felt weird. But it's a very different thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and blank. It's a very different thing to be talking about, you know, playing the way we do now. You know, and I've told this story before on the channel, but I remember having a kid come in to my store one day, and I was talking about Pokemon to a customer, and this kid could not understand that I might actually understand Pokemon. Like, this was a thing that he just couldn't get through his head. Because to him, I was too old to know and love this series the way that he does. And so he challenged me. He's like, you know, there's no way you can be a real Pokemon Master. I said, okay. You know, if you want to feel that way, sure. Ask me. He starts asking me Pokemon questions, and, you know, keep in mind, it was kind of cheating a little bit because I had just, like, gotten my 100% on Sun and... or not Sun and Moon. I think it was Diamond and Pearl. I think it was Diamond and Pearl at the time. But I had just, like, 100% in my Pokedex. I had just leveled up every Pokemon, evolved every Pokemon, things like that. So, you know, I had just done these things. So, you know, challenging someone who literally had just done the ultimate, you know, utmost on the game. That's just the way that okay, achievement unlocked, Weird Tail. That is our final unlock, which is awesome. So now let's go kill the Lich. This is gonna happen. But yeah, so you know, challenging someone who has done everything in the game is freaking silly, you know? I tried. I'm gonna try one more time. Damn, she caught me. But yeah, challenging someone who knows everything about the game. I mean, not everything, but who knows as much about the game as I do. It's kind of silly. There was not an understanding. There was not a... We weren't coming from a place of mutual understanding, so it was kind of a silly thing. I think the same thing actually applies. There we go. The same thing applies when it comes to Gungeon. I was browsing the, and I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but I was browsing the discussion boards, for Gungeon recently, just looking up to see if there's anything I didn't know, any secrets that I didn't know by the time we got to the new launch. And I've seen a number of users mention Gungeon's difficulty, saying that the game is too hard, and that they can't beat the game. They're mentioning, they're asking, I've spent, they're saying, hey, I've spent, countless hours. I've spent 14, 15 hours playing the game, and I haven't beaten, I haven't been able to get past 4-4. Will it ever get better? And will I ever get better? And I sit here, and you gotta understand, I've put probably 200 hours into this game, and I'm still not. I am consistently beating the game, but I'm also consistently dying in very stupid places. So, thy mileage may vary. But, so I'm sitting here, and I have to sit here and think, is the game hard? Like, is it a question of get good, or is it a question of the game is too difficult? And I am the wrong person to be bringing that up. This muncher doesn't actually want much, so I think we can get away with putting guns in here. So we're just gonna put a bunch of crappy guns in here, and hopefully it's gonna give me something really good. Let's grab the MAC-10. Still want something. Let's drop this. Still ravenous. Okay. Blunderbuss. What else do I want to drop in here? I think we can safely drop the Tangler. Okay. Let's, what else do I want to drop in here? I guess we can drop the Rattler. Man, it is eating a lot more than I was expecting it to. Let's drop the Mine Cutter. Okay, so this is actually getting kind of bad because I'm actually losing damage in a big way. And I don't want to drop much else. Okay, I think we're going to stop now. It's just, it is not, it's not giving up. But, people, especially when we talk about games like, Dark Souls, have a habit of saying, get good. So, what I'm kind of curious about is, we talk get good, and, I think it's a legitimate statement in some cases that these games are, they're not designed for the faint of heart, right? They're designed for people to struggle against and eventually succeed. And it is the pleasure of success. It is the victory against all odds is what a lot of us aim for, a lot of us strive for. It is the domination of skill that we're aiming for, right? But, a part of me wonders, is that easy for me to say, right? Is that just a thing that, okay, I'm saying that, but that is easy for me to say because I've done it. Because I've spent the hours learning how to play this game. Is that what it is? Is this game actually truly difficult, and I just don't understand the plight of my fellows because I've spent so many hours playing it? And that's what I'm kind of curious about at the end of the day. Are we talking about, shared mutual experiences that we are not on the same page on because, one of us has played for countless hours and one of us has not? And so I guess, and that's a question that makes me curious, because that comes down to not only gamer culture, but our culture as human beings. I remember being in a philosophy class, not long ago. More years than I would care to admit, but not that long ago at the end of the day. And I was doing a, we were asked to do a paper. Didn't have to be incredibly big or incredibly important, but we were asked to do a paper on some subject and relate it to one of the philosophers we had read about. And at the time, I was a big anime kid, so I was like, okay, can I talk about how, you know, how Japanese culture is different from American culture and why it interests Americans so much? I was curious. So he was like, okay, well, distill that down for me. Why do you want to, or what do you think you can do with that? I said, well, you know, I think it would be an interesting paper. I think I come up with it. Well, he goes, yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. Distill it down for me. You know, go down the rabbit hole for me. Where are you going with it? I said, well, and we keep going, and eventually, you know, I don't necessarily agree with him on this, but he comes to the conclusion that what I'm talking about is what makes people human. Like, I'm not talking about a very simple, let's talk about, you know, I think, therefore I am. I'm talking about let's go as deep as what makes us human, and that's going to be what decides how we're different. Keep in mind, I have great respect for this teacher, and I think he had both great respect and also great hopes for me as a student. So, you know, I don't begrudge him, you know, kind of pushing me off this particular topic. I think that I actually would have made an ass of myself in the paper, and that it was just me talking about, you know, Japan as a subject because I was interested in Japan at the time. But, you know, I remember thinking on that, going like, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that some people just happen to like a different culture than their own. But it made me think. It made me think, okay, how does this end up working out? How do we end up talking about this conversation? Okay. We need ammo to get onto the top of the conversation of the game that I have been playing and not talking about for an hour. So we need ammo, because I do not have ammunition for the guns that I would like to use against the boss. Okay. If I remember correctly, I eventually did that paper on the condition synesthesia, and it begs the question, I think I went the think therefore I am question, and you know, I think I was trying to poke fun at the teacher a little bit or something. So I did the think therefore I am question, and then asked, you know, do we, you know, if you experience sights as sounds, or sounds as smells, or other various things that a synesthete feels, you know, what does that mean for the nature of reality and how we perceive it? I think, if I remember correctly, I did something, I did something like that as my actual paper, which, you know, I think at the end of the day I did go overboard, because one of the other students was basically just like, what if reality was the Matrix? And that was, you know, that's what they did. And, you know, same approach to the same question, really, because, you know, that is asking what if we experience the world in different ways, which is the entire. Okay, we're here. I have no guns. God, we have nothing. Okay. I don't know why I'm even bothering to fight him like this. Oh, hey. Apparently, Okay. Apparently my ring wore off at just that moment. I have no ammo left in that gun. Cool. I could use a lot more crits than we're getting. That's what I'm talking about. Give me more of that. Okay, Form 1 is down. Not bad. I have 5, count them, 5 blanks still in my possession. God, I wish we had ammo. I shouldn't have dumped so many guns to the gun muncher. I was thinking that I had, you know, less guns to deal with than I actually did, or less slots to deal with than I actually ended up having. Okay, Ring of Imperial Form is not ready yet. Running out of ammo. Okay, apparently we are going to be using the mass shotgun for this. Okay, final form. There's a chance. There's a chance. I just have to remember to use my freaking blanks. Okay, let's switch. Crap, nope, we're not going to switch. Okay. Oh my god, we're going to do it? Are we actually going to do it? We are actually going to do it. We are going to kill the Lich on the final run. Screw you, buddy. There's... No. This run should not have been a one run, especially by the end. No. That is so weird. Don't do that to me. Like... Come on. This was not a run where we were getting stuff. I missed almost every master round. Like, if you actually look at my items are generally trash. Like, we do have the potion, you know, so, okay, so things that carried the run. So, the Mimic Tooth Necklace and then the ring of Mimic Friendship are both amazing things. Didn't have to worry about keys for the entire run, which was amazing. The Stinger carried me for a very, very long time. So did the rocket-powered bullets. Obviously, the Shotgun Full of Love was amazing. Unity, as always, is amazing. And then the ring at the very, very end was fantastic. So that did very, very well. Broccoli always is good stuff. And then the backpack allowing me to swap between the Potion of Gun Friendship. The Potion of Gun Friendship absolutely made the Lich happen at the very end. So that was the thing. So, very, very, very exciting stuff. Damn. Cannot believe I actually won. So let's go ahead and talk to Freifel. We'll unlock his final item. We finished. Mighty hunting, friend. The hunt goes on. Today you hunt the bullet shark. So we just unlocked the Grey Mauser. So my understanding is that from here on out, he's going to give me just random hunts that I can do. And they don't actually unlock anything. These hunts just give me more hegemony credits, because apparently I need some. I have a lot of hegemony credits, so my real big hope is that Gungeons and Dragons is going to unlock another shopkeep, who I'm just going to go in and buy out. It's going to be amazing. But that is it for me, guys. Thank you so much for you know, kind of walking through this hour and a half long of me talking about a variety of things. I really appreciate you guys every time you show up. I'll see you all later.